Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. What if I told you the only thing standing between you and your next big opportunity is your voice? This isn't just another program. Empower Your Message is your ticket to becoming the podcast guest everyone wants. You'll learn how to craft a pitch that gets a hell yes, show up with unshakable confidence, and drop truth bombs that leave hosts and audiences wanting more. No more playing small. No more waiting for permission. It's your time to be heard. Loud, clear, and unforgettable. Visit the link in the show notes to sign up, and let's make your voice impossible to ignore. The mic is waiting. Are you ready? Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest is Kimberly Crowe. She is an energetic, inspiring entrepreneur who co-created two businesses called Speakers Playhouse and Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel. And of course, we also need to mention Podapalooza as well. She also helps guide participants from speaking rookies, take them from speaking rookies to revenue generating pros. Also is a powerful speaker herself. Welcome, Kimberly. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Brad?
I am fantastic, and I'm so excited and honored to have you here. We've been trying to get this done for a while, so it's nice to finally have the time to sit down and share in your story, your journey, and all the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do. So with that being said, I am going to jump right in. I want to start off by speaking about entrepreneurship and your personal journey into that world. Can you take us back to the moment when you knew that you just couldn't work for anyone else ever again, when the call to entrepreneurship became so undeniable, and what was the catalyst for that?
Yeah, I did what many of your listeners may have done. I went to work. I did what they told us to do. I went to school. I went to college. I got a degree. I went out and got a real job with health insurance. So, like, that was going to be the end all be all. And I worked at a company for actually 17 years, and 15 of them were really good. I was climbing the corporate ladder. I was getting raises and promotions, and they were loving what I had to offer, and we were having a really good time. And in the last 2 years, really not so much. I had climbed this corporate ladder, and when I got to the top, it was a Fortune 1000 company, and it was powerful, and I had a lot of sway in the company. But when I got there, I looked around at the other people who were at my level and above, like the next steps you might get to.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to grow up and be any of you people. You were often angry and bitter, and many were divorced. Not that there's anything wrong with any of those individual things, but combined group, they were just not happy people. Very overweight, lots of health challenges, and mean and spiteful to their employees oftentimes. And not all of them were, but it just was the grand majority. That was the trend. And I thought, wow, I don't want to be that in my 40s, 60s. So I want to get out. But now I had climbed this ladder and I was making a lot of money. And I was in what they call golden handcuffs.
Yes.
Where you're making so much money, would it make sense to quit? I don't want to do it anymore. I remember being away at the office. I traveled a lot. So there was a lot of away from home.
Right.
I was at the office one night and it was 10:30 at night and my kids had gone to bed. And so I wouldn't see them until the morning. And I remember crying at my desk and being like, God, get me out of this. What do I have to do to not do this anymore? I don't want to do it. And I know it doesn't make any sense to quit. I can't do it. And so I resigned actually a couple of times. They kept hiring me back to do other things because it's hard to quit. And eventually I just was, I can't. I'm not going to come back. Nothing works. And we left on really good terms, which is great. It doesn't always happen that way. Yeah. Sometimes people throw their pens down and say, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But that was it. That was when I knew.
I think a lot of people get to that point, but as you say, and as you mentioned, the golden handcuffs keep them there, and they can't get past that piece of it. They can't see past that and think that there is no alternative. How am I going to do this? How is this possible? And I'm of the belief that there is always a way. You can figure it out.
Yeah.
There is always a way to make it work, whether that's starting something, a side hustle, like something part-time for the time being, until you grow it to get to that point. You can jump completely with no nets, and that's okay too. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. But so many people I find get stuck in that position. It's like, no, I can't do it. There's no way of doing it. They do it to themselves. They put themselves in that position and in that mindset to believe that, no, there's no way to do this. It's just not possible. And it is completely the opposite. There is always a way. You just have to figure it out.
Yeah.
If you're miserable, why do you think about the amount of time we spend working throughout our whole lives? Why would you want to be miserable?
I know.
Like I was at that point too. I was at the point, I worked for a corporation for 12 and a half years. And unlike you had 2 years where it wasn't, I had 6 years where I was just miserable and scared to jump. So I was in that position, I know, but you have to take a chance on yourself and you have to push yourself to figure it out. It's because when you're miserable, everybody around you feels it. And that's not fair to them either.
It's true. My kids knew it. My now ex-husband knew it. But it's just one of those things where you think, I've heard other people say it now. And I look back and it was so many years ago that I'm like, did I really feel that way? But I listen to people and they say, I don't have a choice. This is the only thing. I don't have a choice. And I remember now coaching people and saying, everything we do is a choice. And, you know, whatever you do, I don't care if you're a kid that has to go to school every day. You have a choice. Like you really do have a choice to comply or not. And then your choice not to go to school is going to bring you other things. Your choice to go to school is going to bring you other things. And it's not that you don't have a choice. And I think that's what a lot of people need to realize is that it's all everything we do is a choice. Who we marry, who we stay married to, who we build a relationship with, who we serve as an entrepreneur, work with, who we choose not to work with, what we do with our daily lives, what we do for our health. If we're going to get up and do the podcast, or if we're going to maybe next week or maybe next month, or what's the choice that we're making? And so I think it's all a choice. It wasn't like it was an overnight. Everybody says, oh,
no,
I was an overnight success. No, I was never.
No, there is no such thing as an overnight success. And I love that you said that, the fact that we always have a choice. You may not like the choices you have to make, but you have a choice. You can choose one way or the other. It's up to you. It's within your power. Yeah. You always have a choice, no matter what. So thank you for sharing that, Kimberly.
I love that this podcast is focused on empowering women, because I think sometimes women feel, and men as well, and I don't mean to make only a women problem, but I know I've seen it with my women friends where they're serving so many other people. And they're like, I can't do that because my spouse, or I can't do that because my significant other, or my parents, or my kids, or whatever. I can't because, and they have all these people that are lined up. And I think maybe it's more of a blessing for men that they're like, I go out and I need to conquer the world and build and make a way for my family. But they're not, but first I need to do all these other things for these other people. For sure. But sometimes I see that in women and they're like, because all these other people. And I think all these other people want you to do well. All these other people want you to be happy. Your parents want you to be happy. Your kids want you to be, your spouse wants you to be happy, right?
Yes. But it is very common among women. I see that as well with all the women I speak with and interview. And it comes from, I believe, the conditioning that women have had as young girls, that you are supposed to do this. You are supposed to put everyone else ahead of you. You put yourself on the back burner. You take care of everyone else's needs first, then whatever's left for you, that's what you get. And that is completely false. It is bullshit. It is the wrong way. We all need to do, but women specifically, because women so often do this, women do need to put themselves first. And that is not selfish, contrary to popular belief. It is not selfish at all, because when you do that, guess what? You have more left
Yeah.
over to give to those you want to give to. A friend of mine gave me the analogy of the teacup and saucer. You fill the cup up. What's in the cup is for you. What overflows into the saucer, that's what you give to others. And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a very common thing among women. And we need to shift that. And we do that by starting to talk about it and bring awareness around these types of things. That's conversation is the catalyst for change. That's how any change starts. That's how we start to move the needle, is through conversation. So having conversations like this with you here, Kimberly, and other people, this is how we start to move the needle and start to bring awareness around all of these things that we're going to talk about today. So I'm curious, what drives, motivates, and inspires you to keep going and excelling at all that you do?
It's been a variety of things over time, right? But I think now in this stage in my life, I have 2 adult kids. I'm single, divorced. My ex-husband and I have a really good relationship now. My parents are still alive and thriving. And what motivates me now, I think there was a turning point where I said, when I was at work and I was like, it's not fun anymore. It's not joyful. This is like, how do I get out? And I remember thinking that whole concept of fun, if it's not fun, we only have so many go-rounds on this planet. We only have so many days to live. And if we're living not fun all the time, what's the point? So I actually now I have a motto, and it's a teasing motto, and people think it's not fun. It's not worth doing. And I really believe that, and I live into that, and I play with that. And so it's a variety of things in your life, but if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. So that's, I think, my motivation is what's going to be fun today? Is it going to be, and how can I make it fun if it doesn't seem like it's going to be super fun? If you have to work out, how about a run on the beach instead of the gym or whatever?
Going to the gym. Yeah, absolutely.
With your friend, or a new part of your business, or writing new swipe copy or whatever. If that's fun for you, let's get creative. What's the fun part? And the rest of it.
Yeah.
I have this acronym called ROAD, get on the road to joy, ROAD. And R stands for relish. If you relish it, keep doing it. Let's do it as long as we think it's. But then when you don't, like, I built a website for my first business, and it was fun building the website. And eventually it wasn't fun to keep it up anymore. Like, I wanted to offload that. So then you got to put it in one of the other 4 buckets. So R is for relish, OAD or the other bucket. So O is for outsource. Who can you hire to do it? If you don't want to mow your lawn anymore, can you hire a maintenance crew? Outsource. What can you outsource in your business? A is for automate. I have a very big list. I send an email every day to my list. I create the email, but then I don't do anything else with it. I basically I put it in the system, and automatically it goes out to my folks that are on the list. Automation is a great thing. And then D is really special for women. D is delete.
Okay.
D is just delete.
I love it.
We always think we've done this forever, so we need to keep doing it. And a great example for me was holiday cards. I sent a Christmas card every year to 50 people, and I had this ongoing list, and that was building. And one day I was like, I just don't want to do it. And I didn't send any cards the next year. And out of the 50 people that I sent, not one of them was like, hey, where's my Christmas card? Oh, and I thought, wow. It was this nice thing that maybe somebody put it on a refrigerator, but like worth it to me? No, it wasn't anymore. So I stopped doing it. And it's just one of those things.
There you go.
What are you doing that you've always done just because you've always done it? And that's a trap. Can you delete it? And what will happen if you do? Like, what will happen if you do?
Yeah, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You didn't hear from one single person out of 50 upset that they didn't get their Christmas cards. Okay, don't put your energy there then. No one's going to be upset. And if they are, too bad. I've always been told, if it's not a hell yes, don't do it. If you cannot feel it, if it doesn't cause excitement within you or a fire within your belly, fuck it, don't do it. Forget it. It's a hell no. And just leave it. Don't do it. Yeah. That's one way of looking at things. If it doesn't burn within you when you think about it, or when you think about doing that thing, fuck it. It's a hell no then. If it's not a hell yes, forget it.
That's fascinating, because back in the days where I was working in a staffing company, we would staff technical professionals and high-end professionals. And I ran a very large organization to do that. But I used to teach people that one of the things we were looking for from the potential employee, if I tell you about this job, do you want it? Is it an absolute yes? If it's not an absolute yes, it's anything else. Maybe
Yeah.
that's not a yes. They don't want it. Let's
No.
figure out what they want and make that happen,
Yeah.
because that just
That's it.
unsuccessful thing. But the hell yeah,
For
couldn't
sure.
agree more.
Yeah. So when you first started in entrepreneurship, what was the boldest decision you made that felt reckless to others, but it was a hell yes in your soul? It felt really good to you.
This is a terrible story. This is a story of failure.
Failure is not a terrible thing. It's a good
I
thing.
love failure stories. I love them. I had built, when I left the staffing industry, I was fortunate to have entrepreneurship. Previously, I'd had some businesses on this, like side business, side hustles. I had what they called MLMs, which are now some called something else, right? So I'd always had some sort of side business. So when I left corporate, finally, I told my friends and family, and I was like, I'm going to do an entrepreneurship. What should I do? And they said, you were so good at what you did at corporate. Why don't you do that? And so I did. I started a business doing staffing. I hung my own shingle. I opened a little mini office, and I hired employees and had computers and everything. Like I did the whole 9 yards. Like I did it.
Yeah.
And I remember hating it. I remember, wait, what did I do here? I didn't want to die with, she was really good at staffing on my tombstone. And I'm out of this golden handcuffs, right? And I had built my very own golden jail cell because it wasn't handcuffs anymore. It was all mine.
Yeah, it was a whole cell.
I built it. My cell was brick by brick. I now was responsible for employees. I had contracts I had to do, and I was miserable. And I remember that I had a whole day of clients that I was going to be on calls for, not in-person meetings. And I called my office and I said, I'm not coming in. And as an entrepreneur, you can't call in sick. You just don't, right?
Yeah.
But I called my office and I said, I'm not coming in. Cancel my calls. And I went and I left in my workout shorts, and I walked up a local mountain called Iron Mountain. I was like, I'm going to go to the top of the mountain. Maybe there'll be a Swami at the top telling me what to do. And there was not. And I remember sitting down and being like devastated that I had done this to myself. I'd built something I didn't want to do anymore. And I came back down, and even though the answer wasn't up there, it turned out that when I came home, I opened the door and my 15-year-old son said, hey, Mom, I'm glad you're home. I have a problem I need to work through. And I thought, somebody else's problem to focus on instead of my own. Yes, darling, tell me what your problem is. And he said, I'm 15 and a half this summer, and I'm too young to get a summer job, and I'm too old to go back to summer camp because that's boring and stupid now that I'm 15.
Right.
And he was taller than all the camp counselors. So I was like, yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I said, why don't we build a business around something that would be fun? Why don't we just build entrepreneurship and we can make some money and do something fun? Now, as a mom, I was thinking this is going to look great on his college application.
Yeah.
But as a woman, I was thinking I want to do anything other than this thing that I built. Right. So we built a business around what he loved doing. He was good at acting. He was in improv. He loved reading books to kids at libraries. He loved kids and still does. And so we put all that into Google because there was no ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And why don't you be an audiobook narrator? My eyes got really big, and he's like, can we do that? Can we read books and get paid? And I was like, well, let's try it. So we did
sure.
Business, and it was called I'm Hearing Stories, which was like the greatest name ever, worst name ever. Company. Yeah, it was terrible. But anyway, we built this business and we loved it. We had so much fun that we got more business that we could handle. It went gangbusters. It was like a huge success. And I was like, this is it. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to have fun, because when you're fun, you light up and you talk about it and you tell people about it. And you're like, this is what I'm doing. And people that were in our family, we didn't even know they wrote a book. We had written a book. And they're like, hey, I have a book. Can my nephew read it for me? Hey, I have a book. Like friends and family that came out of the woodwork, and they're like, we want you to create this. And so it was a huge success right away until it wasn't fun anymore. And then we put it away. But that was it. And I was like, so when did I know for sure Like you get that gut feeling. You get that feeling like, I don't want Quill. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. So what happened with the other business?
Oh, it ran for a while. It still pays us money because you earn money on royalties. A book, like when you sell a book, it's out there forever and your royalties, maybe 25 cents, maybe $10. Yeah, I just started.
The brick and mortar, though, what happened to that?
Oh, the brick and mortar. I eventually.
Yeah.
I shut it down.
Okay. You left me hanging there, Kimberly.
Sorry. When you do staffing, it runs for a while. I actually turned it over to one of my employees. And I was like, we're not going to bring any new business in, but I just want you to service the customers and make sure they're happy and take care of our employees until they're no longer working in their assignment. And they worked around 6 to 9 months, and that brought in business so that I could start another business. Now I have a business helping entrepreneurs, and I love it.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I've been doing that for 8 years, and it's filled me up every day.
It's a hell yes. I love it. So before the businesses, before the success, what were you hungry for that you weren't getting from the world around you?
Joy
and fun.
Yeah. I think it was, there's got to be more. And when I literally pictured myself with a tombstone that said, she was really good at staffing. And I thought, we're all so multidimensional. Is that all it's going to be down for? And I know there's an expression that says that your life is in the dash between the birth and the death. Like your life is in the dash. Yeah. And what are we doing there? What are we doing? Not what are we doing for other people? Not how are we only serving, but what are we doing? What are we creating in this world? And I think from a very young age, my parents used to tease me. They'd say, every time we see you, you say, what do we want to create? And I still say that. I'll be with a friend and I'll be like, what do you want to create today out of today? And I think as a creator to be, this is all I'm going to do forever until I retire. And then I'm going to rest. That's it.
There has to be more.
There has to be more.
Yes, absolutely.
And I did it for fun. For a while, it wasn't. I loved climbing that ladder. I loved doing the things I did. I loved my employees. I loved doing it. And then one day I didn't anymore.
It happens, though.
I think that's true with everything. I think that's true with your workout routine. I think that's true with your relationships sometimes with friends, sometimes with a spouse. I think that's true with your work, that you love it until you don't anymore. And then you're designed to move on and do something else, because that terrible feeling we have in our gut is the thing telling us there's more, there's next.
Yeah. You've outgrown that piece or that part of things, whatever it is, relationships, work, like you said, and it could be a number of things, but you've reached that point where, okay, this is feeling stagnant now. It's time to move on and do something else that makes me scream, hell yes.
Hell yeah.
Now, this is something I love talking about, and I don't think it gets talked about enough. Entrepreneurship, the highlight reels of entrepreneurship, it gets glamorized, and it's not all puppy dogs, rainbows, and ice cream all the time. It can't be, right? There's shit. Solopreneurship can be very lonely at times, and we don't talk about that stuff. We don't talk about the struggles of entrepreneurship enough, I don't think, because everyone's so busy sharing their fucking highlight reels on how much money they've made or how amazing it is. And so I'm curious, what is one of the ugliest truths you had to face about yourself in the entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that in this world of entrepreneurship, there's a phrase that people say, just do this. Just do this and you'll get this. It's because because people want, and marketing has taught us that people want easy. We want the quick fix, the easy answer. The 5-point guide or the framework that we can fit around our world and fix everything. And it's such a lie that we buy into. And I bought into. Oh, really? To do an online course, all you have to do is just do this? Okay, I'll do that. I'll create an online course. Have it be out there forever and make me tons of money. And that's the buying into the lie and admitting that you bought into the lie is really interesting. I think the biggest danger out there that people are selling right now is the thing called revenue, but they don't call it revenue. I'm sorry. The thing that people talk about is revenue, where they'll say, or even worse, even invoices or things like that. So they'll say, I had a 3-day event and I made $100,000 in my 3-day event in one day.
Yeah.
But first, that 3-day event didn't take you one day to put on. It wasn't like you worked.
No, of course.
$100,000. And then secondly, like even if it was like, I'm only counting what I sold in one day, you
Yeah.
sell it and collect the money, or is it something that's coming in over time? That's another thing, right?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
sold I've sold 4 $25,000 packages. Okay, great. Did they all pay you
Yeah.
$25,000 today, or are they paying you on a payment plan that they may or may not finish? And then that's
Mhm.
one. And then worse than that is $25,000 is not $25,000 profit. It's
No,
revenue,
of course
right?
not.
It's what they call in the
Yes.
biz revenue. And then
Yeah.
you take off all the expenses that cost to put on that
Mhm.
3-day event and to put on the $25,000 program that you had, whatever that
Yep.
entails. And then your expenses, like your computer and your internet and all that stuff. So that all
Yeah.
comes off. And then from there, you get your profit, right? Well,
Yeah.
people will say, I made $100,000 in one day. What they mean is they added maybe $20,000 to their profit that over time. So that's the
Yeah.
big lie.
Mhm.
And the big thing that we buy into and we want and we covet.
Yeah.
Like it's people say it because it's what did you call it? The highlight reel, Brad?
Yeah,
The
the
highlight
highlight reel,
reel,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I had one of those too. It was super fun, and I've had several since.
Mhm.
Do they really make you $100,000 so that you can go on a European vacation, like, immediately? No, they do not.
No, of course
So the
not.
highlight
Of
reel, I think,
course
is
not.
the big thing, and we do it as entrepreneurs because we don't want people to see the other side. We're hearing all this
And
stuff that all these other people are making it, and we think,
yeah.
"Oh, I didn't really make what they're telling me they made. I'm
Mhm.
less. I didn't do as well."
Yeah.
Found out when I
Mhm.
started talking and being friends with people that were doing that, as I was inside their realms, I was like, "Oh, I'm doing as well or better than some of these people." Women especially have no idea. They're just believing the hype.
Yeah.
They're
Yep.
just like, "Oh, I'm not as good as them. One day I will be good
Right.
as them." And when you turn around and you look, I have a life where I'm financially independent. I'm financially
Mhm.
free. I travel full time. My adult children, my parents, and my ex-husband, all I have wonderful relationship with. I'm doing
Mhm.
better than a lot of the people who are selling the story of
Yeah.
the 3-day, $100,000 success event. I have a lot going for me, and you guys do too. So that's my
Yeah.
2 cents.
I think it's so important to have these conversations because and I honestly feel like some of it is a responsibility, I think, to entrepreneurs that are just coming into the
Wow.
game. I think for people like you've been in business longer than me, but I think for people like you, people like myself, I think there's a little bit of a responsibility there for us to educate and have conversations around this stuff so that people coming in know that, hey, you know what? It's not all glamour. It's not going to be all amazing all the time. And if we can share these stories, share things like you just shared, and or share my struggles or whatever it is with people so that they know that this is what you're in for. This is entrepreneurship is not for everybody.
Yeah.
You have to be a certain type of person. But I think that if we can start having more of these conversations and talk about these things honestly, openly, and authentically, I think that's part of our duty as entrepreneurs to do that for others. We are here to be in and of service to one another. So why wouldn't we help people coming in? If you can, if it's something as simple as sharing stories and sharing our journeys, that it doesn't take much.
I agree, and I think that the trap that a lot of folks get into is, "Oh, I do wanna help people. Oh, I do wanna help. All they have to do is buy my program, and I will help them." And so that's the
Yeah.
double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
Where
Mhm.
yes, or the other side of it is, I'll just give everything away. I won't charge. I'll just
Yeah,
give it all away, and we have to find a real balance that
for sure.
helping people really and getting paid to help
Mhm.
people. You can
Yeah.
think of the analogy of a doctor. Doctors help people, nurses help people. They get
Mhm.
paid to do it,
Yeah, they
right?
do.
So,
Absolutely, of
they get paid to
course.
help people. Teachers paid to help
Yep.
people, not as much, but both
Yeah.
my mom and my stepdad were teachers, and there wasn't a lot of
Oh,
money in
okay.
that household, but yeah, they help people, but they still get paid.
Yeah, of course.
I think you're right that we need to be honest, and what a
Mhm.
lot of people are selling is the hope and
Yeah.
dream, and that's
Mhm.
great because we need hope, but we also need
For
a
sure.
very firm sense of a dose of reality with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the hope that you can get here. That
Yeah.
being here is awesome. You're on your way and
Mhm.
you're doing great. And just because you're not
Yeah.
there, this might be smoke and mirrors. Don't tear yourself down because you're not there yet. And you're on your own path. I know that people say I should only measure against myself. It's a really good rule. What are you doing?
It
Are you
is.
doing more than you were doing last year in a better way? Are you having more fun?
Exact.
Are you
Yep.
sharing joy with other people? Are you creating more joy in the world for yourself and others? So for me, that's a really
Yes.
good measure.
Yeah, for sure. Competition mindset is a huge thing, and I struggled with it,
Yeah.
but it took me 2 years to get there when I first started my entrepreneurial journey, but I got there and I realized the only competition I have is me. As long as I can look back and see that I've improved and I've grown and that's all that matters, because guess what? No one else in the world is me.
Yeah.
No one else can do what I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. No one else can do what I can do the way I do it.
With
Nobody,
the background
because
you
no one
have,
else is me.
you are totally
Yeah.
in you. You have the background that you have,
Yes.
and if you don't bring that to the world, if you hide that and try to be somebody else, then they're gonna expect
Mhm.
that person to show up all the time, and you're gonna be
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
and your special
No.
magic is being hidden from the world. So I
Yeah,
totally agree with you,
exactly.
Brad.
I think it's our duty and our responsibility we have been given gifts.
Yeah.
Every single person on this planet has gifts within them. And I believe it is your duty and your responsibility to the world to share them with the world, because you're here to shine. You're here to do things. You are here to have an impact. So share that shit with the
Yeah.
world. Shine as bright as you possibly can. As you said earlier, we only get one go around here. So make it the best fucking possible journey you can and share your shine with people.
Yeah, I completely.
You are a gift.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If entrepreneurship has been your teacher, what lesson would you say has been the hardest but the most rewarding to learn?
That's a good question. So I would say if there are so many people out there that are trying to help, that have programs that can solve every problem you have, and many of them are outstanding and many of them are smoke and mirrors, and picking through those is important, but also not, I'm going to say this carefully, not buying into somebody else's
Yep.
dream.
Mm.
When I first started and I decided that from the audiobook company, my son and I decided we had so much business, we couldn't handle it all. And we wanted to share with other people how we decided we wanted to teach other people to be audiobook narrators so they could take some of the work off our hands. When we decided to teach it, we taught at a local adult school. And at local adult school,
Okay.
we had so much fun teaching. And that my little 16-year-old son at the time and I were teaching to these adults. They loved him. He's very charismatic. They loved learning from us. It was great. And we thought, we're taking this show on the road. And I met a person who said, hey, you can teach this not for what an adult school will pay you, which is, I don't know, like $20 an hour for 3 hours. It
Right.
didn't change our world, I'll tell you that. So we could do it online. We could teach online and charge our own tuition and it would be amazing. So I bought into the hype that oh yes, I'm going to teach this online course and I'm going to make $1 bazillion. I created the course and the course was okay, so you do a webinar, which leads to a 6-week course, which leads to a 2-day event, which leads to a year-long mastermind for $25,000. And I was like, okay, I got the program. And he was very good at teaching all of those aspects. And when it got to the year-long program that we were going to charge somebody $10,000 or $25,000 to be in this year-long program, I was like, what am I going to teach? And he's, oh, you can make it a mastermind, or you could do this, or you could do that. And I was like, I don't want to do that. That sounds like a job. I don't want to teach somebody every day or every week for a year. I don't know what I'm going to do next year. I don't want to sign up for a year of anything. And he was like, well, that's where all the money is. So you have to do it. That's where it is. And I thought, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. And that internal knowing of I'm about to get stuck in another 17-year thing that I don't want to do is pay attention to that switch. And that's what entrepreneurship has taught me is you got to pay attention to your own switch. I didn't do that. And instead, I built a completely different business, which is all based on events. Everything that I do is something that I can turn off or turn on, or if one day I don't want to do it anymore, I can just turn it off. Like I'm not going to do another event. I'm not tied in for a whole year of anything. So everything that I do is supporting other people doing that, because lots of people want affiliate marketers who will promote their stuff. I do a lot of affiliate marketing, and somebody else takes them for that year-long journey. I put them on an event where they can talk about how great their program is and let the people make a decision on which program is right for them. So that's what it taught me, is don't buy into somebody else's dream. Let your own gut tell you what you want to do next.
Love that. Thank you for sharing that bit of advice. That's brilliant. And so, what is one thing about building your business that no strategy, coach, or blueprint could have prepared you for?
It's every day. It's every day. It's every day. It's all the time. The only way for it not to be invasive in your minute-to-minute life is hire staff. You need other people in your business that are dedicated to supporting you. I could not do what I do without an amazing group of 9 VAs out of the Philippines that have been with me. One of them has been with me since 2017. She is my right arm, and she runs that team amazingly so that I can step away. When you can't call in sick to your business, you can't do that a lot. I did it one day.
Yeah.
It took a toll. It's every day. It's always there around you. So it better be something you love, because if it's around you all the time and it's not something you love, your day-to-day life is misery. And the only way to offload any part of that is to get other people to take on some of the job part of it. So I really do stick to what I love. If I love building a website, I'm going to build a website today. If I don't want to do it anymore and there's maintenance, I'm going to offload that to one of my employees, and they're going to make the little changes and update the dates and make sure the buttons work. And if somebody emails and says, hey, this link is broken, that goes to somebody else to fix, because I'm on the ski slopes or I'm not to beat you or something. So even though you are going to see it every day and you're going to be thinking about it every day, you need help. And entrepreneurship is a team sport. It's not designed
for
just
sure.
for you.
No, I think that's true for life. We are not meant to do anything alone in life. We are meant to do things in community. I think we've lost that sense of community. I think it's missing today in life, not just entrepreneurship, but in life as well. But also, I think it's important to mention too that when you're starting out in entrepreneurship, you can't always hire a team and hire people and pay VAs. And so you have to do everything yourself. So I think it's important to mention that too. You have to get to a certain point where you are able to do that. And don't get down on yourself because you can't right away. It's not always possible. Some people can, sure, but it's not always possible to do things that way at first. You can get there, absolutely. You've done it, but I think it's important. You can't. A lot of people don't start out being able to do that.
I get that. I do get that. I think it's important to sell something first, but in order to scale, in order to keep doing, I think people pull back. And like, I have lots of coaching clients, and the coaches are, well, when I get another client or when I get my first client, I'll be able to hire a VA to do my work. So they end up doing their website instead of talking to people about buying their programs. They end up hiding in what we call color coding their files. It's common. They're like, I'm going to work on this pretty picture and this image, and and they're doing that instead of getting business. Yeah. So if I think in terms of, I can hire somebody in the Philippines for $4 to $7 an hour easily, then whatever I'm doing, if I'm doing it, then it's worth $4 to $7 per hour.
Yeah. True enough.
Can you say, okay, it's either not worth $4 to $7 an hour and I don't want to pay anybody else to do it, so I should go do the thing that's worth $100 an hour, go find a new client, or if I offload this thing and pay somebody else to do it, then what do I free myself up to? And I think that's easier said than done. A lot of people say, I can't because I can't afford it. I get that, but if it's not worth $4 an hour, why are you doing it?
Yeah. I think it's also important to mention too that, and this is something that we all go through in the entrepreneurial journey, I think early on, is we are doing all the things. We are juggling all the plates and the balls and all the things, but all of those things aren't our area of expertise. So we shouldn't be doing things that we should be focusing on our zone of
Yeah.
genius or our path of genius. And I think this goes back to even the education system.
Sure.
Is we've been conditioned to believe that you have to be good at
Yeah.
everything. Why don't we in the school system, as an example, if I'm good at math, if I'm really good at math and I'm so at science and English, and why are we not encouraging our kids to do the fucking things that they're experts
Yeah.
at, that they're really good at, that lights them up? Again, back to this, if it's not a hell yes, don't do it. And yes, you've got to get through those other subjects in school, but why aren't we putting the emphasis and focus on the things that they're really good at? Yes, they've got to do them. And as long as they get through and get the passing grades with the science, the English and all that stuff, but constantly tell you, you've got to get better at this. You got to focus on this. You got to do better at this and this. But this is what I love. And this is what I'm really good at. So why can't I focus on this?
Yeah. You're totally right.
It needs to change.
Yeah. Do what you love.
And the same in
Yeah,
business.
do
Yes.
what you love. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And even though we might have thought we didn't have a choice in school, we did,
Yeah.
but we thought we didn't.
Yes.
We take a choice once we're grown, once we're adults. We have a choice.
For sure.
And
For sure.
we should do what we love doing and keep doing the things.
Absolutely.
Get on that road to joy.
For sure.
If you relish it,
Yeah.
if not, get it off your plate. And there
That's
are other
right.
ways. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because there are many other ways that you can get things off your plate. For example, when I launch pretty much every program that I launch with another person, Podapalooza early on. Podapalooza was birthed out of me being at somebody else's event. They were teaching how to do, poetically, how to do a 6-figure event, how to put on a 6-figure event, right? So I was there and I was watching, like, cynically, and they put us in breakout rooms with somebody and to create our 6-figure event. And we were going to spend 20 minutes doing it. So we went into this room and I knew I was not going to create a 6-figure event. I knew I'm not buying that. I just want to know what you're teaching. So we got into this room and I got in with a person that I knew. Her name was Michelle. And I was like, hey, good to see you. What have you been up to? And then I said, eventually we got around to, what are you creating for your 6-figure event? She was like, I don't know. I haven't quite figured it out yet. And I said, what do you do? And she said, I help podcasters launch a podcast. And I said, oh, I help speakers get on stages like podcasts. And so we started talking and we came up with this idea to launch something called Podapalooza, one-day event where speakers and podcasters could come together and be on each other's shows. And then we would, while they're not on the show, we would teach from the main stage, but then they'd have private breakout rooms where they could get interviewed during the event. And we're like, this sounds like a lot of fun. I go, so that was right before Thanksgiving. And then 2 weeks before Christmas is when we launched it. We were like, let's just give it a go. And it's sold out. Like, it's sold completely out. And it was just one of those things where I was like, this is the key, is you need to brainstorm with somebody else, do something with somebody else. She wasn't my employee. She was my partner. And we launched together, we made money together, and we jointly created this thing that's now in its, 17th one coming up. And we have made money every time. Last time we sold out again. It's just, we keep building it bigger so it doesn't sell out. And it's very successful and very fun. And when it's not fun, we'll stop doing it.
There you go. I love it. That's amazing. What scares you today at the level of success you're at now that didn't scare you back then?
Honestly, now I think there are so many tempting things that I could get into that would take a lot of time and personal investment. And I have built this life where I really have a lot of time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom. And there's some that I'm so excited and interested in, and I think would be so fun and would take such a large time commitment. I think that's what I fear. I think I'm afraid to launch into them, because what will I have to give up in order to do that? And it could be amazing. And
It could be.
And just being on the fence is not a comfortable place to be. So I think that's where I am right now. I'm afraid to, what if I launch in it and it's not amazing? Then I'm giving up all my time for a failure. 60% of new things fail, easily 60%.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like that. I think that's what I'm afraid of. I'm like teetering on this edge. Should I go for it in this one or that one or the other one? Or should I just stay and be like, I didn't do it? Like, they say. And we all regret the chances we didn't take. What are the chances I'm not
Yes, for
taking
sure.
right now so that I can be
Yeah.
warm and safe and happy that and not
Mhm.
full of drama that makes me good. I don't know. So that's probably what I'm looking for.
We miss 100% of the shots we don't
Yeah,
take.
that's true. That's true.
What is something that you're currently outgrowing, and how are you making space for what's next?
I travel full time and I've been doing it since 2020, right after COVID, as a matter of fact. So, COVID, everybody was in lockdown and it was rough. But right before that, I had met a gentleman who traveled full time. We met on a cruise ship. And I said, he said, where are you from? And I said, San Diego. And I said, where are you from? And he said, oh, I travel full time. And I said, oh, wait, what? What? Tell me everything. I want to know everything. How do you do that? And he said, I live on cruise ships or I live in Airbnbs or I'm on a tour or travel or I rent a place in the Alps or whatever. It was just this amazing life. And I was like, I want to do that. I really want to do that. In August of 2020, right after COVID, my son was going away to school and he's my youngest. And so I thought, okay, I'll rent out the house. I'll just travel for 6 months and see what happens. And eventually I loved it so much. I was like, we'll sell the house. We'll give me back in a huge house in San Diego. My kids are not there. No reason to do that. So I sold the house and have traveled full time ever since. And I've been to some amazing,
Holy
been
shit.
fantastic. This last month, I went to Cartagena, Colombia, which I thought was like was like a drug-ridden capital. It's not. It's gorgeous. I went to Machu Picchu with my kids. We went to the Amazon. We went to Ecuador and Costa Rica and just been all over. And now I feel like I'm ready to settle down again.
Sure.
So I think what I've outgrown is that was fun for 5 solid years. And it'll be 5 years in 3 weeks. And I think I'm outgrowing it. So where I am right now is a little place I rented in Encinitas, California, near my folks, near my son. And I'll be here for a month. And then I'm like, wonder if it's time to settle down again.
Interesting. I'm sure you'll figure it out. Amazing. That's incredible. Travel full time. Amazing. Just work from wherever you are. That's phenomenal. So let's dive into the businesses now. You've built platforms that are literally rocket fuel for entrepreneurs and speakers. What was the exact moment or experience in your life that lit that match for the mission?
That's a good question. I don't know. People say, what was the switch? And sometimes there is one, but I don't know if there was one for this one. I think I grew into it. I wanted to do the online business. And a lot of people were in that mastermind with me. And they all built these great programs, but then they weren't selling. And we were like, how do we sell them? And they said, get on podcasts or get on stages or speak about it or do a webinar. And that was a way to do it. I realized that a lot of people are afraid of public speaking, and it's been a gift of mine my whole life. I was born sharing my opinion, and I'd never stopped. My family, they'll tell you exactly that that's true. And I've never been afraid to get on stage. I loved being the lead in the school play. I loved being able to raise my hand and ask the question that nobody was asking. I was never afraid to get on the mic. And I think that's a gift I've had since childhood. And it's one that I have the ability to share with other people. Let's get you on a mic. Let's have you share.
Yeah.
And let's raise your voice in the world. And when I became an international, inspirational public speaker, and I was able to wear that badge, I thought it's easier than you think. It's not daunting. We've all been speaking since we were 2 or 3. We can speak. We're capable. So it's just a matter of doing it and getting on the podcast and making that happen, or getting on the show, or creating your own event and having that happen. And so now, since there was so many people who wanted to share their stuff but didn't want to get on stages or didn't know how, I thought, this is the gap in the market that I can fill. Like, I know how to do that.
Yeah.
So since then, and it wasn't like an overnight switch, like you say, or a moment, but it was like, oh, I can create a stage for you guys to be on to talk about your stuff. And they were like, oh, that's great. And then I thought, I can create a podcast so I can interview you to talk about your stuff. And they were thrilled with that. And I thought, okay, I can create a show for you to be on. And that is what meant. And so now I have all these opportunities. I have web summits, I have podcasts, I have ways for people to talk about who they are and how they show up in the world. As an international inspirational public speaker, you could Google that right now and you're going to find a whole bunch of white guys and like 4 old people. And it's not that they're doing anything wrong. I love Brendan Burchard. Tony Robbins is a hero in the world out there.
For
and there's so many guys who are doing it and doing it well. The rest of us just need to step up to the mic. And so I'm very passionate right now about helping women and people of color get their message out to the world and be able to share. So that's the space I'm in right now. I have an amazing event called Voices of Women, where we had 350 women speak in a single day. We have series of them. We've had over 1,000 women be able to share their voice. I launched another one called Voices of Color, which is really for everybody to speak. The white guys are welcome as well. Everybody can speak. And it's just a place for you to be able to get on a stage and share your message. That's you. Brad, you said you're the only one who has your story, your message, your passion, your creativity. And if you don't share that with the world, who's missing out? Not hearing what they needed to hear from Brad today. It's such a loss for people to be afraid to get on a mic or not to be able to find one. And so if I had a mission today, it would be to let people share their message with the world.
Love it. Love it. So can you tell us a bit about your other two, Speakers Playhouse and Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel?
Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel is my company. It's my LLC. I run all the programs from. Playhouse is and it has a Facebook group and it's a great community to belong to, but it launches all these other programs. Podapalooza, the Influencers Cruise, which is a cruise ship that you speak on. It's super fun. Coding camp where you can become a keynoter, like a paid keynoter, and apply for keynote gigs during the event. And then of course, Speakers Playhouse, which is my free event that happens every single Thursday from 10:30 to noon Pacific. And it's a place where you can advertise your stage or find stages, and it's free every week. It's a gamified networking event, unlike any you've ever been to. It is fast paced. It's fun. One of my dear friends, Patrick Diamond, who's running a 3-day event today, he said, Speakers Playhouse is so fun. And it's like that spinny ride at the kids' playground, spinning really fast. You're on it, you're having so much fun and you're getting dizzy. And then you get off and you want to throw up and you want to do it again right away. That's what Speakers Playhouse is. And I thought, yes, that is what Speakers Playhouse is. So come and play and have fun with us.
Awesome. We'll put the links for all the stuff in the show notes when we publish your episode so that people can take advantage of and check it out. You have created communities, as we just spoke about, that thrive on connection, of course. So what does true connection mean to you? And how do we create it in a world that is addicted to the scrolling, the surface level likes, the views, all that shit?
Yeah. I think co-creation is connection. I think the most important part of connection. So if you're listening to this podcast, thank you for listening to this podcast, by the way, for those of you who are, if you're listening to this podcast, that's awesome. But until you create something with that group or with other groups, then there's no real connection. You're watching and it's passive, and that's great. Maybe you're learning, maybe you're on ChatGPT and trying to figure stuff out, but you're not creating yourself until you're part of that, right? So if you get on a podcast and you get interviewed by Brad, please do, because he's amazing, Brad, then you're co-creating an episode with him that was never there before because you weren't there. So if you're scrolling, that's great. That's entertaining. That's fine. But when you get off and you interact with other people, you connect with them, and then you have feedback and they have feedback, and then you make something better together or something worse, doesn't matter. It's creative. It's new. It's something that never was before. If you never watched this podcast, if you never did, this podcast would still be there. But if you comment on the podcast, or if you get on a podcast, or if you interact in some way, then that was never there before you did it. So the connection, the power of the connection is co-creation, is you doing something with them and making something more because you were a part of it. And I think that's the most important part of connection.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Kimberly. Now, visibility, we've mentioned that word too. That word's been thrown around a little bit. It can be terrifying for a lot of people. I know I hear that story from a lot of women about showing up and being visible. And it is especially terrifying for women, I think. So what did you have to heal or unlearn in yourself to become the bold, vibrant speaker? Now, I know you said you've been doing this for a long time, but to become the speaker and the leader you are today.
I think people want to learn the quick fix. So you're always going to try to put that out there as, I have the solution to your problem and blah, blah, blah. But I think people enjoy hearing human stories and the vulnerability. Brene Brown was on a TEDx stage and she said, most people think vulnerability is weak, but vulnerability is actually very courageous. Being vulnerable and talking about your spots where you weren't perfect, where things fell apart, where you tried something and it failed miserably. It was just a flop. And that it was just a disaster or whatever. When you talk about that being vulnerable is actually the thing that brings people in. It's the thing that people admire the most. It's the thing that people gravitate to, because if you show up as perfect, one of two things is going to happen. People are either going to say, oh, Kimberly's perfect. I could never be like her because I'm not perfect. Or worse, they say, Kimberly thinks she's perfect. And I know it's impossible. So she's full of shit. And I don't believe her. So when you show up as vulnerable, as real, as human, that piece is what's most attractive to people that can trust. And then just one last little tip. I know people think they have to be at the top in order to teach. Like, I'm not there yet. Who am I to teach that? Who do I think I am to be able to share that message with the world? And this makes me emotional, because you don't have to know it all to help somebody. You just have to be a little bit ahead. And even the second grader is a genius to the kindergartner. The kindergartner is coming to school, just wants to know where to put their lunch. They don't want to ask the principal or the teacher or the noon duty aide. They're afraid. They want to ask the second grader. They want help from somebody that's like them, that's close to their feeling. And so that's my inspiration for you.
I love that. When we are vulnerable, it gives others that's a permission slip for others to also do the same. And like you said, it invites people in. It creates a place of safety, a place of knowing that, hey, Kimberly's being vulnerable. I can do this too. And it is about, like you said, with the grade 2 and the kinder, it's about putting the hand down the ladder and the hand up because there's always going to be someone above you, and there'll always be someone below you. So extend both hands out to help and to be helped. That's what it's about.
I agree.
For sure. What is the real transformation that happens for someone when they stop being, as we've talked about, a best kept secret and finally start to step into and use their voice unapologetically?
What's the what?
What's the real transformation that happens?
I think when they start being seen, they're terrified. That's a transformation right there. But when they stop being afraid to be terrified, when they stop realizing, I think some of the best transformations I've seen we have a practice program where we can practice a talk and for 10 minutes and get feedback and then practice the talk again. Some people don't want feedback and they're like, it was all I could do to just say it. I'm afraid to be criticized. I think when they realize that they didn't die from speaking.
They say that is the second biggest or the biggest fear ahead of death. I think it is public speaking.
Ahead of death, is public speaking. So when they do it and they don't die from it, and their cerebral cortex goes, oh, I didn't die from that, then they realize that they're going to be safe speaking. And we put them in front of a warm, supportive audience. But the good news is every audience that's there to listen to you is actually 98% a warm, supportive audience. Nobody listens to the Brad Walsh show if they don't want Brad. And they're like, Oh, I
Yeah.
can't wait to see him. Nobody comes to my 3-day event to hope I fall on my ass. Like, they care because they want you to succeed. They want you to be amazing. They
Yeah.
want you to be inspiring, and they want you, like, they already love you. That's why they're there.
Yeah.
So the first thing is I didn't die from it. And the second thing is,
Yeah.
oh, every audience that I'm attracting is going to want to hear from me. 98% of the time. Have I ever gotten a heckler in my audience? Sure, of course. Like, I've had
Yeah.
people that whispered and were like, "She's not all that." Okay, yes, that's happened. But most of the people who show up to talk, to see my talks, are people that are like, "Oh, she's really fun. I want to learn from her."
Yeah. They want to support you. And not everyone is going to be your people, and you're not going to be
Oh,
everyone's people
Oh,
either.
and the right people will come.
It's knowing that.
I had somebody,
That's
like,
right.
"Kimberly, you talk really fast." And yeah, I do. Talk very fast. People say, "Listen faster." Like, I'm not talking slow. We're fast. And as a tease, but I had
Yeah.
somebody email me once after Speakers Playhouse, and they said, "Kimberly, you talk so fast. You need to slow down so that we can understand you." And I thought, he's very sweet, and he's going to find somebody that will speak slower for him, that is right for him. But he is not he's not my
Yeah.
ideal person. He's not the person I can
Yep.
personally help, because I don't slow down.
Yeah.
And even if I did, it would be fake,
Mhm.
right? So I'm going
Yeah.
to be me. The right people are going to come in. And the people who are like, she talks way too fast. She's crazy. She's all about the fun. I'm about the discipline. She's not.
Yeah.
That's fine. How
Yep.
it should be.
Absolutely. Whoever's meant to receive your messages will receive them. And you got to trust in that. Now, in a world where so many entrepreneurs are chasing stages, how do you define the difference between simply being seen and truly being witnessed?
Oh, don't ever use a PowerPoint.
Okay.
Death by PowerPoint is a terrible way to die from an audience member's perspective. But also, when you're putting up a PowerPoint, you're hiding behind it. They're not looking at you. You're not being seen. You're maybe that message, like, you got people that are doing this the whole time, taking pictures of your slide and not looking at you. I've seen, witnessed it. It's terrible. So I think you've got to be able to connect with the audience. Ideally, you are interactive with the audience. I will tell you that I love live events, because I would never be good in the movies, but I'd be great on Broadway. Like, if I can feel the audience, if I know they're with me, if I can bring them along, if I can ask them to raise their hand or put a 2 in the chat if this or whatever. And I love being able to interact with them. They're with you when they're interacting. I think that's really key. The other thing is to be successful when you're speaking, and not just, I made this mistake for years. I've had the privilege of being on over 5,000 stages. And I will tell you that easily 1,000 of them were already done before I realized that I was making huge mistakes with my call to action. At the end of every talk, people would be like, "She was great. I wonder if we'll ever see her again." That's it.
Yeah.
That was it. And I wasn't giving them the next natural step they could take to do the next thing with me. Like, I was thinking, oh, if they liked me, they'll come find me. But so you have to give them something to do. And at the end of your talk, you must know, before you get on the stage, you must know 3 things. 1, at the end of this talk, what do I want the audience to walk away with? What do I want them to learn? 2, at the end of this talk, what do I want them to do? And 3, at the end of this talk, how do I want them to feel? So at the end of this talk, I want them to learn about stages and speaking opportunities and how to live a life of joy. At the end of this talk, I want them to do something, and I want them to feel hopeful. I want them to feel like, oh, there's hope. Like, I can do this too. She's an everybody person. If you can do it, I can do it. I think that's what you need to know. But what's the do thing? What do you want them to do next? Do you want them to go to your website? Do you want them to buy your book? Do you want them to check you out on LinkedIn? Do you want them to book a call with you? If you're at an in-person event, do you want them to meet you in the back of the room at a break? What do you want them to do next? What's their marching orders? What's the next thing they need to do? And if you're not selling anything, then what do you want them to do next? From my TEDx, I wanted them to think differently. What do you want them to do different in their life now that they've seen you? So always have a call to action. Always have something that's a proper call to action at the end.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Kimberly. What advice do you think your future self, 10 years from now, say, would give you about how you're running your business today?
It's easier than you think. Don't overthink stuff. I have a shirt that says, hold on, I'm overthinking. Or hold on,
Yeah.
you're overthinking it. And I think that's probably what advice I would give myself is you're just way overthinking this. And I think we all do. We're like, but wait, what about this? And what about that? I think that's my big.
I'm an overthinker too, a classic overthinker. And I heard a DJ say on the radio, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. He said one day, I was listening to Sirius XM, and he says, overthinking is the art of creating something that doesn't exist, creating a problem that doesn't exist. It's true. You are making a problem out of something that's not even there.
Yeah, that's true.
And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, holy shit, that's what I do.
Yeah, me too. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. You teach people how to amplify their message. So what is one message that you think the world needs to hear right now that nobody is saying loud enough?
We want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. We don't want to hear somebody told you to say, or the script that somebody wrote for you, or the perfect thing that ChatGPT spit out that you have to say. We want to hear from the authentic, real you and the message that is already inside you that you're afraid to let out. That's what we want.
Love it. Love it. What is one thing you know now that you wish you had known when you started your entrepreneurial journey?
It should all be about the fun.
Okay. What does freedom mean to you? You've mentioned freedom a few times now. What does freedom mean to you at the very deepest level, beyond money, status, recognition, all of that shit? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, I think it's choice. We have everything we have is a choice. We all have. When I was very young, people used to tease me and say, I love options. They're like, Kimberly loves options. She loves to have lots of options. And I always have. They would tease me at 31 flavors. Like I'd go in and I'd be like, what are all the options? What are that's ice cream place for those of you outside.
Yeah.
I'm not advertising for them, although I did work there when I was and we're great. But what are the options? What are all the different things that I can choose from? And to be able to have all those options are great. And I am a spiritual person, and I journal and I meditate, and I got what they call a download, and I get them from time to time. But this one was really strong and really hard, and not hard. It was beautiful. And it was the reason you like options so much is because they are abundance in the now. And
I love that.
Like about an hour and a half to really chew on that and process that. And I thought, that is so real, right? Like when you are standing and you have all the options, like before you get married and you have all the options, right? What are the options? And then you choose. And now you have options with this person, and that's great. But what are all the options that you have? So I think that is freedom to me. In your space, what are the options that you have now? Poetry is a great example of that. Poetry has to follow a lot of rules. It's got a lot of rules. But how many amazing options came out of poetry that is super restrictive? So even if you have a super restricted life, you can create poetry with that. You can create all. Yeah. I don't do haiku, but haiku is one of the most restrictive poetry things there are. And there are thousands, if not millions, of different haikus that are out there that are all special and beautiful. So even if you are that restricted, what can you create that's special and beautiful that says what you're about?
Love it. How do you define the word success?
Happiness, joy.
Happiness, joy. Okay. What does the word empowerment mean to you?
That's a really good question, and I love that it's part of your show. I think people need more permission to be self-empowered. I think people who are trying to control or restrict or direct people need to allow them to have more empowerment, to need to empower people. If you're a boss and you have employees, your tendency is to let me show them how to do it, and instead empower them to figure out how to do it. If you are a spouse and your kids are not or your husband is not cooperating, or your wife is not cooperating, rather than tell them what you need, empower them to give you what you would like. If it's like the house needs to be clean, empower them to figure out how they can live in a space that's clean and also have the things that they want, and give them the opportunity to be able to do that. So if you're in a place of being able to control others, allow yourself the space to not, which gives you freedom as well. Now you don't have to oversee them. And then when you're in a space where you feel like you're being controlled, realize that you do have choice, and that itself is empowerment, so you can empower yourself. So empowering,
Love it.
being able to say, I have the power to, and you have the power to, and just realizing and recognizing that and staying back while that happens with other people and allowing yourself to be empowered, I think is really a lesson that gets learned over time. We spend
For
time in
sure.
school where we get a lot of direction.
Yes.
And then we spend time at work where we get a lot of direction.
Yeah.
An interesting phenomenon happened after phones were invented. My cellular phones, rather. My daughter grew up in a time where they were just coming out. I think she got a phone at age 9 or 10, pretty early. And they were talking about how people were coming into the workplace and they weren't able to be self-empowered. They weren't able to know what to do at work unless they were told. And they traced it back to the times where there were cell phones. And I was like, I wonder what's going on here. And this thing came out where they said, when we were kids, when Brad, you and I were kids,
Yeah.
you didn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
I'm assuming about your age.
No, I did not. No, I did not.
So if we went over to
the payphone, there were still
Right?
payphones everywhere. Remember those?
Katie's house, and we were going to go over to Katie's house. We told our mom we're going to go to Katie's house tonight and do homework.
Yep.
If we got to Katie's house and her parents weren't there, and we thought that they were going to be, we had to make a choice. Do we stay here or do we go home? What do we do? But if that happens to kids now, they would pick up the phone. They'd be like, "Hi, Katie's parents. What do I do?" And they would get the answer from the authority. So when these kids grew up and they were in workplace, they didn't know how to do anything without asking for the answer of the authority. And if the authority wasn't there, if the boss wasn't there, they just waited because they didn't want to screw anything up. And so now there's all these people in the workforce who can't make their own decisions because they're waiting for somebody to tell them what to do. So that is as disempowering as you can get.
Oh, for sure. Agreed. 1000%. The generations today, I don't know, they're lost, I think. And part of that is the parents' fault. You have disempowered your kids by not giving them the opportunity to choose.
Yes.
They have to learn. They have to learn to make decisions. You can't be there. You're not going to be there all the time. You are going to pass on one day. And then what? You've created this completely reliant person.
Yeah.
They're lost. The parents are part of the problem with kids today. They have created this. They've created this dependency.
All those of us that are saying kids today, we got to look and be like, what did we do to create that? And I think one of the things that I did, certainly I answered questions from my daughter on a cell phone a lot, but also I remember her calling one time and saying, "Hey, we're out of conditioner." Like hair. And I remember her like looking at the phone and I was like, "What do you think we should do about that?" And she was like, "Oh, I was going to put it on the list downstairs so that we could buy it the next time we're at the grocery store." And I'm like, "That's a great idea." That's it. She was waiting for me, but she already knew what to do. And start asking the question, what do you think?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Give them the freedom of choice. Teach them how to make a decision, how to choose.
Don't blow them up if it's not the right decision. Like, I was going to take it out of your shower and use yours instead. That could have been the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Very true.
It could have been.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Okay. We're going to jump into a little rapid fire section. So the next grouping of questions just be 1, 2, 3 word answer type thing. What is your favorite place on earth?
Oh, Spain.
What is your secret or hidden talent?
Making people smile.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
Speak up.
What is one of your guilty pleasures?
Ice cream.
What is the one word that sums up your mindset?
Fun.
One book that changed your life?
It is one word. Rejection Proof. Rejection Proof by Jia Jiang.
Okay. What's one word that defines the woman you are becoming?
Peaceful.
Beautiful. That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. I created a bonus question that I did not send you ahead of time. What is one habit, ritual, or practice that has been a game changer in your personal growth?
Yeah. Exercise and nutrition. I think I took health for granted for many years, and I live a very healthy life. There are those around me. My brother is 2.5 years older than me. He has already had 2 strokes. And I like it's
Wow.
like it can happen like that, right? So I think changing, like when we go through a certain stage and we suddenly, women and men do it too at a different stage, put
Mhm.
on a whole bunch of weight
Yep.
really fast and they haven't done anything differently because their metabolism changes. That happened to me. And I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, what happened? I haven't done anything. I swear to God, I haven't done anything differently. And they're like, yeah, probably carbs are not our friend anymore at this age. And I really regular exercise. I'm a very outdoors person, but with
Mhm.
travel, that gets put on the back burner sometimes. I used to be a triathlete
Right.
and you can't bring a bike with you on the road.
No.
So I stopped doing that. I'm on camera a lot, so there's lots of excuses for not being able to get out, get to the gym, get some exercise in, and
Mm.
eat healthy. And I think that's a really important lesson that I do not take for granted. Health is something I don't take for granted anymore.
Okay. If you were to introduce yourself to me without mentioning your occupation, where you're from, ethnicity, nationality, religion, none of that, the labels, the day-to-day superficial markers that we use, how would you introduce yourself to me?
Tell me about you.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And I think more people need to do that. They're so on the verge of being like, here's me, that tell
Yeah.
me about you is one of the most inviting questions we can ask.
Love it. If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
I don't know. It was a very thorough interview, but maybe what's next?
Okay. What's next?
I think we all have eras in life. And I think this particular era in life for me is going to be a little bit more wrapped around my children and my parents who are aging. I've had this wonderful life for the last 5 years of travel and fun and joy and bringing loads of people with me as well and going to see loads of people. And I think I need to spend a little bit more time close to family and around what they're up to. So I think that's a little bit about what's next for me.
Love that. If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
Yeah. Oh, there's so many. I'm going to go with an easy one. And I would say Oprah Winfrey, because she has had so many wins and failures in life. And she's not afraid to talk about the times where it wasn't easy and difficulties that she's had. So I think that she's amazing. And Elizabeth Warren is absolutely inspirational. I think I think Brene Brown would be fun to sit down to. She and I are not aligned in many ways, but TED Talks, and I love what she's studied, which is vulnerability and shame. And I think she's got a lot to offer. I've read all her books, and she's just fantastic. Yeah, that was 3.
If you could, that's okay. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Have more fun. Take it easy. There's only one go round on this planet. We only have so many go rounds, right? So
Yeah.
just have fun.
Absolutely. Lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your tribe, your people, your corner of the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
You can do it, and we want to hear from you. You're meant to do magic in this world, and you have it inside you, and we want to see what that magic is. Only you can bring it, and if you don't, the world misses out.
Beautifully said, and a wonderful way to end the interview. Kimberly, thank you so much for being here with me today, for sharing a bit about your story, your journey, your experiences, and the beautiful light you put out into the world, helping all of these people get on stages, have their voices heard. It's absolutely beautiful. So thank you for being here. I am honored to have had the opportunity to sit down and share in that journey with you. I am honored to have you as a member of the Empowerography community. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure and my honor. Once again, my name is Brad Welsh, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest has been Kimberly Crowe. She is an energetic, inspiring entrepreneur who co-created 2 businesses called Speakers Playhouse and Podapalooza, Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel, all of the things. She also helps guide participants from speaking rookies to revenue-generating pros, and is also a powerful speaker herself. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
You as well. Cheers.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca, follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast, and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.